Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to show you how we can create custom roles in Entra, right? Earlier, I made a video on how to create custom roles in Azure context, right? It is similar to that only, but in the Entra side, we have certain limited or custom permissions that we need to select, right? And then by selecting those permissions and binding those permissions together, it is going to simply allow us to create that custom role separately, right? And that custom role can be assigned to a specific group, specific user, or whoever needs to perform that certain task, right? And that way we can definitely make use of that, right? So let's go ahead and do that. But before that, I wanted to give you some of the prerequisites that needs to be met when you try to create custom roles within Entra ID, right? So there are few prerequisites. The first is at least we should have Entra ID P1 or P2 license. That's the minimum requirement in order to create custom roles within Entra, right? And those roles would be created within Entra and can be assigned to, as I said, to the group or users or whatever or whoever we wanted to, right? And perform the certain actions. The second prerequisite is at least the person who should be able to create those roles, they should have privileged role administrator access on the Entra side so that they can go ahead and create those custom roles, right? And other prerequisites can be PowerShell graph or MS Graph PowerShell module when we are going to use PowerShell in order to create that or create those roles, and then admin consent when using Microsoft Graph or Graph API in order to create that custom roles, right? So those are the prerequisites. Those should be met in order to create that role within Entra. So I'm going to simply show you from Entra portal directly, but I told you those other PowerShell methods or PowerShell prerequisites here because you should be aware about it and you should know what is it, right? So I'll simply go ahead and share my screen and show you how we can create those roles. And once we have those roles created, we can assign it to the respective group or users or whoever needs to see or whoever needs to work on those tasks, right? So let's go ahead and do that. So let me share my screen quickly here. All right, let me open up page. Perfect. So here you can see that I have shared the screen, right? And this is the Entra page. And within Entra, you can see that we have a bunch of options. So we need to go to under identity and then roles and admins. So from here, we have an option called new custom role, right? And you might have seen this and maybe you might have used this before, but I'm just going to make you aware about the custom role creation. And you can see that there are a bunch of predefined or built-in roles, right? And we can directly use those as well. But there are scenarios and situations where we don't want to assign those built-in roles because those are the highly privileged roles and has a lot many permissions that we really don't want to assign those permissions to anyone within the organization or outside the organization to perform certain tasks, right? Maybe there are situations when we wanted to allow certain actions to create and provide on a project basis, right? And then that respective person within the organization should have access to only that permission to perform the respective job or respective actions that they need to do on their daily job or maybe on a once in a while or something like that, right? And that way we can simply leverage this capability. So these are the built-in roles, and let's go ahead and create custom role. So here's the new custom role button at the top, and you can give it a name. So I'm going to create a simple role, which is going to allowing that respective person or group of users to register an application within Entra. So I'm going to give it a name like app registration, creator, or we can say the app registration or app register or something like that, and then we can give it. Here we can put some description if in case we wanted to, and then you can select the baseline permissions either from start from scratch or clone from the custom role if you wanted to, or if we have already created such role before, then we can leverage that as well, right? So we should be good here, and click next on the permissions tab. Under the permissions tab, you can see there are a bunch of permissions, and out of all of these permissions, we can select the appropriate permissions that we wanted to create a role with, right? And you might be seeing that, or maybe wondering that which permission is really need for my role or my requirement. So to understand that, definitely you can read about each of these permissions in the second column here on the description, and then understand it, what this permission is going to do, what this permission has to do with that particular permissions. For example, here in this, which says application policies and create, which allows this role or permissions to create application policies, right? And then those policies can be assigned. Similarly, if you see the other side of that is to delete application policies, right? Similarly, we have all other different permissions. Those can be wired up with this specific role, and we can add more than one permissions in one specific custom role, and those can be leveraged or used. So for example, I'm going to simply type this one, Microsoft dot directory slash. Now I typed Microsoft dot directory. So why Microsoft dot directory? Because this role is going to be on a directory level, and then it is going to be scoped with the respective area or respective criteria that we are going to push. Let's say I'm going to create it on application level. So I need to type applications here, or simple application, and then you can see that if I type hash or slash applications and then slash, then you can see the respective roles or permissions are filtered out, and I can simply select the whichever permissions I wanted to use with this role, right? And if you don't, or if you remove slash, you can see there is a change in the permission filters, right? Then it is going to simply filter out those permissions, and then it is going to show us all those permissions which are matching with that respective permissions or respective keywords in simple, right? So for now, I'm going to simply filter out with my specific criteria I wanted to create with applications. Then I will put slash, which is forward slash here, of course, and then we should be good with this. And to go with, I'm going to create simply or select with this permission here, which is create all types of applications. And this is what I'm looking for. Plus, also I wanted to use the basic update, which is update basic properties for that respective application. Also, I can use update authentication on all types of applications. So these are the different permissions that we can use for, and can be leveraged on a different roles and permission level, and can be used for. So for now, I'm going to create or select 1, 2, and 3. And then also I'm going to select this one and this one. Right. So these are the permissions I wanted to provide. Also, I can select this one where read owner of applications and update owner of applications. So now if I select 4 and 3, total 7 permissions, these permissions would be added to that role, and whoever is going to be assigned this role, they would have these permissions to access that Enter ID section, and then they can take all of these actions, right? So click next here, and I'm good with all of these permissions. I don't need, or I'm not going to change anything further, and this role should be created for me. So let's go ahead and create it. Perfect. So you can see that this role is created here at the top because it is starting from A as an app, right? And it is alphabetically ordered from A to Z, right? And that is why it is showing up at the top. But if you would have started with something like S or T, then it would have landed into the that respective area where it starts from T or something like that, right? So click on this one. And once you click it, you can see the description here of this role. What was the description that I have put in? And then you can see the template ID here as well. The template ID is selected from all of these permissions, and it has bind up all those permissions together with this template ID, right? And then we can leverage this role in order to provide permissions or wherever we wanted to use this on to manage all of these permissions on a specific group or users, and then it is ready for us. So now this role is ready. We can either delete it or edit it if in case anything change we wanted to make here, and we should be good to, right? And then you can see the role settings here. You can see that we have a bunch of options to manage or update this notifications as well. So when eligible member activate this role, then what action should happen? Then you can send or set up different notifications on admin and user and assignee and approver, all of that stuff. But for now, I'm not going to make any changes. But if in case we wanted to make any of those changes, we can definitely do that. And these are the different customizations that we can set up. So by default, it is going to be 8 hours. If in case we are going to choose this using or assign this role using the PIM, right? And even if not in the PIM area, but still when we are assigning this role to any user or group, then uh, it is going to allow us to make that use of role activation, right? And then once the user activates the role, then it is going to be active for 8 hours, and we can set it up to minimum and maximum 20 hours and minimum half hour and 30 minutes max, right? And then assignments, and then we can set up the notification section here, you can see. And then that's just the additional setup for us in order to manage that role and how we wanted to be allowing it and access it, right? And from here, we can assign it directly or make it eligible for respective user or group. And whoever is part of that, they can simply go ahead and make it active for themselves and use it, right? So yeah, this way we can create customized roles, and we can leverage those roles for different requirements, right? So yeah, that is all I wanted to show you in this video, and hope you like it. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to watch other videos around Microsoft Entra ID, Azure, Microsoft 365, and FinOps. So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.